Hello and welcome to our live coverage of the Hayabusa 2 bombing of the asteroid Ryugu. We don't know what to expect. This is a JAXA live stream. I've seen various reports that it will be dubbed, it will be translated. We're going to do the best we can to keep up and make this interesting no matter what goes down. I have with me two co-hosts, Stella, who's walking off stream away from me, and Eddie, who is standing a bit close and has at least 5 Cheerios sitting on the back of his back. It is okay. So you want a link to the live stream? Okay, so here is the JAXA live stream. So this is one of the craziest things that has scientifically happened in my adult lifetime. And this is because of the no holds bar approach to, we're just going to add more robots. This is a Japanese mission to a near-Earth asteroid, and it has so far landed a small fleet of tiny robots on the surface. It is now going to drop an anti-tank weapon onto the surface, blowing it up with a remote control, another small robot that is going to hover over the, orbit over the surface and take images while Hayabusa 2 itself hides on the other side of the asteroid to make sure it doesn't get hit by shrapnel. Later on, they are going to try and touch Hayabusa 2 down on the surface to grab some of the freshly revealed rock and stuff that is going to get churned up and revealed with this particular I think asteroid attack is probably an accurate way to put it. They are hoping to create a 10-meter deep, that is 30 feet or 10 yards-ish, crater on Ryugu when they do this. And this asteroid is only like 500 meters across. So that is pretty freaking awesome. So, we did as the United States previously attack a comet. It had it coming for science. We essentially rammed a refrigerator-sized piece of stuff into it, but we didn't actually blow anything up. This approach of using actual explosives is kind of awesome and novel and fabulous. And Paranor is asking, is there an actual possibility it could make it all fly apart? No. So the idea that the asteroid could fly apart, that's not going to happen. While Ryugu may very well be a rubble pile of rocks, it is gravitationally held
This is
together.
the camera.
I don't know if they did that on purpose.
This is DCAM 3. Post detachment. In the middle is the digital camera. On the
Let me know if I need to adjust the volumes at all. We are using a new camera setup and software setup today, so things may not be quite right. Yeah, I know I shouldn't rub the eye. It's slowly doing better. I have prescription goop that I put in each night that essentially glues my eye shut. It's still not 100%, but when I'm not on camera, I've been trying to maintain low contrast environments that don't require looking up too much, because it's looking up that seems to annoy it the most, and looking at high contrasty screens. So I'm a bit, so the problem is that my lighting, when I set it up during daylight. Let me see if I can fix that real fast. Hold on. Okay, so that appears to be a bit better. I am actually just that white. Silly British genetics. It's true. It's true. My future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Now, speaking of wearing shades, the Parker Solar Probe earlier today made a close approach of the sun. Now, there wasn't any exciting hoopla about this. It basically had to go into self-protect mode while sampling with things that weren't directly facing the sun. Hopefully, we'll start getting results back from that soon. But today was really all the things. And so to give you a quick rundown of what all happened today, we started out bright and early with a 5 a.m. wake-up call with the launch of a Progress capsule atop a Soyuz that launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. We followed that up in rapid succession with simultaneously Bereshit, the Israeli lunar lander, doing a firing of its engines to reduce its speed so that it went into orbit around the moon. This was occurring about the same time. Thank you, Fenmil. Go, Eddie, go. Back over there. Back over there. He's slowly learning. They're not as good at the death stare as Annie's dogs are. And I'm going to dye my hair so it has no more green in it so that I stop green screening my hair. Thank you so much, Fenmil. The Bereshit maneuver was occurring simultaneous with the Progress capsule, which did a 3-orbit rendezvous with the space station, rendezvousing with the space station. This was followed after a break for foods, at least by Annie and I. This was followed by a launch of another Soyuz rocket, but this time it was from the French Guiana site down in Polynesia. Not in Polynesia, it's in the rainforests. I'm not going to correctly say where it is, so I'm going to stop. It launched from French Guiana, and it had on top of it a ComSat. This then was followed by a test firing of the engines for the Space Launch System, as well as a test of Starhopper by SpaceX. And I mentioned the Parker Solar Probe. It has been a day, folks. It has been a day. And we have worked to bring all of it to you right here on CosmoQuest X. Thank you so much, Mythtown. Thank you. There. Thank you. And here we go.
おはようございます。それでは、時間になりましたので、シフト1のパスマイブリーフィングを行います。
降下開始がシフト変わって始まって間もなくですけども、23時13分機上ですけども、降下開始をします。
So we were told that this would be dubbed.
皆さん4ヶ月ぐらいになるかと思います。いろいろとそうなっている部分もあるかと思いますので、基本的にコミュニケーションは気づいたことはどんどん声掛けをするようにお願いします。
訓練の時は実践のようにと言いましたけれども、今日はもう訓練積み上げてきたんで、訓練の通りやればと思います。で、探査機の安全運転でやりましょう。で、最後は
Okay, this is very clearly not in English. I'm going to check the feed that is coming from space.com and see if we can find any translations. This is going out on multiple sources today. This is a fabulous looking video. I just want to see if I can find something we'll understand. So I'm going to turn up the volume while I do some searching. Okay, so I haven't found dubbing yet. I'm going to keep searching. The space.com video is the same as the JAXA video. And it may just be that they haven't gotten to the dubbed part yet. And I agree, we need more plushies. We definitely need more plushies. NASA keeps making 3D printed models, and those hurt when you throw them. They hurt a lot when you throw them. And the dogs are totally failing to dog bed right now. Okay, Veronica, no more loud music. Sorry about that.
いやまあ焦らすつもりはないんですけど、このペースでやってるとずっと全てを往復待たなきゃいけない。
特にリスクはない。今まで何度もやってる手順なので。
ちょっといろいろ比較して違うのは AOCSM CLI レンジライダー。そちらは R3 の時は開始時は 6800m ぐらいで、まあ、5000m 超えてるような値が得られてるんですけど、今回は 180m で固まってるんですね。だからその 180m だと思い込んでいれば今の動作説明できる。
All right, so I have a friend, boss, both, the associate, I believe, director of the Planetary Science Institute where I work is currently at the JAXA location. She is unable to stream with us today simply because they are doing their own live stream and they didn't want to confuse things with too many streams. I'm going to see if she knows if there's eventually going to be English. This does appear to be a recap video right now showing highlights of everything they've done so far. I don't think we've gone into the live broadcast yet, although this may be it. Now there's still music in the background, so I'm guessing it's not live. Let me see what I can find out.
降下速度を速めて追いつくということをやりますけども、その速度が 0.9 メートルパーセックです。HP コードで7キロ弱です。そこでようやく追いつくということになります。でそこから先はまあこれまで通りの運用に戻れるんじゃないかなというふうに考えています。ちょっと緊急対処でいろんな人にフルメンバーが結構集まっていただいたんですが、これからスタートなので、もう一回シフトを戻していただく必要があります。なので体力の温存のことも考えて、もう一度各サブシステムでシフトを見直していただいて、無理のないセクションにインターをお願いします。ライトで各位、3発目のデルタ4が次、これも OS30 メーターバッテリーです。じゃあ、あとは誘導側の腕の見せてください。
Eddie just belly crawled to the Cheerios. Okay, so I've sent an email to see if I can find out anything more about if we are eventually going to get any English language on this stream. Hello, Michael. So this is the live feed that we have running. It's just purely in Japanese. And so we're trying to figure out if there's going to be an English version anywhere. I'd seen earlier reports that there might be dubbing. Currently, this is a highlights video, but this is the live link, and you can see the live at the bottom here. Yeah, so everyone they're showing previous days up until now. They have beautiful production quality. Yes, Fenwell, you've totally Pavlovingly trained my dogs, and this is fabulous. So I love just seeing all the various stuff in the background, especially the rotational images, where that's a time series of looking at the asteroid time and time and time again as it rotates along in its orbit. One of the things I've greatly appreciated today, as we've seen here into the Hayabusa 2 control room, as we saw earlier today, into the Space IL control room, is these small nations. Well, they have small control rooms. They are a tight-knit group of humans that are working to control these spacecraft to do amazing science. Veronica, your high school had cool foreign languages. So the last time we saw a stream, Michael, from JAXA, it had both languages taking place. I don't know if they're doing that for this event as well. I have no idea what's up with this green guy. I simply know the green guy is very important. It was amazing during the Space IL encounter because almost everything was in Hebrew, and Ambius, who's one of our longtime community members, was in here manically typing a translation. And there's a second individual who I think today was his first day joining us live, who was also helping to translate everything into English. And I just love that community that we have that is so willing to get involved at the point of translating live into chat. Yeah, and Ambius really did amazing. Yes, MVP. What is the green thing? This is my question. I love the soundtrack. I've checked multiple times that I remembered to turn things off. Actually, I didn't remember to turn things off. That's it. No, but I silenced my iTunes, so iTunes was still going. It's no longer still going. That's the Japanese. They totally soundtracked this. What's amazing to me also is I've seen all these people in real life at conferences. These aren't people who are dedicated just to this mission. They're out traveling the world, communicating their work. Now, one cultural point for those of you who may not know is when you see people wearing masks like that, it's often, welcome Elkhorn 95. It's often misunderstood that they're doing this because they're afraid of getting sick. The actual reason that I learned when I was in Japan earlier last year was they're often concerned either about pollen, and it is cherry blossom season right now, or they have a cold and they don't want to get other people sick. So it is for the benefit of the people around them or to protect themselves from allergies. And I just love that their culture's like, we aren't going to bother with allergies. We are going to do everything we can to defeat the allergies. How much better it would be for so many of us if our cultures embraced the idea of protect yourself from pollen at all costs. That's cool, Janderlin. I hadn't heard that. I know in China and India they wear masks both for fashion and because of the pollution. Okay, so we're clearly still seeing former highlights. So the actual impact event is going to be occurring in 45 minutes. So we have quite some time to watch what's going on. Which I assume would be an amazing roundup of events if we spoke the language. But we don't. Yes, I encourage you to get snacks. I do. So I think that was probably a recap from when they shot the asteroid, but that's just a guess. So they actually earlier fired a bullet into the surface of the asteroid and scooped up a sample. So, let me see. And we may end up helping out in a moment here. Let me find out. So I actually just got a question on how to do a file thing from someone doing science. So we may be helping with science right now. Pardon me while I stare at my device. Okay, I have answered their question. We may have just helped somebody do science. I wish I could tell you more, but unfortunately, I'm totally not allowed to say more, I don't think. Ooh, there's a potential link for English. Thank you. Let's find out.
ですね。今の段階で言うことないです。ベストな状態でtouchdownを終わらせられたというふうに思ってます。
That's the exact same link we were already on. I'm so sorry. That's same link. Same thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle Bill. You hit the limit. So we won't know exactly, Sven, how Svenska data. Are you part of the square kilometer array, or are you referring to the band? Because either is cool, but it's even more cool if it's square kilometer array in this context. Anyways, we won't know exactly how big the sample is until they bring it all the way back to Earth and we open up the sample container. So all they know is everything worked correctly. We just don't know for sure how much got captured. We're going to have the exact same issue with the OSIRIS-REx mission. This is particularly exciting to me because I'm part of the OSIRIS-REx mission. We actually have CosmoQuest software that's getting used right now behind the scenes. And I found out from Keeper of Maps, you saw it in a news article, that it's now public. But, okay, let's see, hold on. Is there going to be English here? There's going to be silence.
This is Kuminaka.
English.
We would now like to start the artificial crater creation process. It is now 787 meters above. After 11 a.m., when it reaches altitude of 500 meters, L12S01 SCI impactor will be detonated to this region. Timer will start, and automatically it will act in 40 minutes, detonate in 40 minutes. The Explorer will evacuate to the safety regions few kilometers away. This is a very difficult operation with time limitation. Please take note. So, it is ready. We would now like to start. AOCU parameter registration is complete. LiDAR, ONC camera, DCAM camera, power on. SCI, safety lock, release. Gate 3 check, all green. All members and supporters, please take the defense for shock and the light. Hayabusa 2 will start the automatic descent.
Okay, so this is all we've got right now. Yeah, Paranor, it's so frustrating to have to wait. And what's even more frustrating is I don't know how quickly we're going to get all the data back. So here's the thing. They have Hayabusa 2 at the time that the impactor hits the surface. It's going to be on the far side.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'd now like to do the 2-hour live distribution of Hayabusa 2. This is a live distribution, so we will do this from the control room special studio. I hope you could enjoy. I will be the moderator. I'm science communicator. My name is Yuko Okayama. Let me introduce the members. First, the operation supervisor, Mr. Satoshi Hosoda. I am the operation supervisor. And I am Hosoda. Thank you very much. And ion thruster engineer, Mr. Tsukizaki. So I am in charge of the ion thruster. I am mainly in charge of the overseas station. Thank you very much. And former system, Mr. Hiroshi Imamura, system and impactor engineer. So from the development to the initial operation, I had been in charge of the impactor, and we are finally here. Thank you very much. So us four, with some additional guests, will do the live broadcasting. During this broadcast, we will have supporting message by SNS. So please give your word of support, hashtag Haya2_SCI, and questions to hashtag Haya2_QA. We will introduce your message and questions as much as possible. Thank you very much. Now, in this live distribution, we will have the subtitle as well. So the ground station antenna adjustment, Ms. Akiko Hasegawa will do this with the collaboration of the Momiji. The subtitle circle has made this happen. It's been 9 years since Hayabusa came back to Earth. We saw this in the control room of Hasamegamihara. The control room is now renewed. That has already supported the space, science, satellite, and the Explorer from the beginning. We have many new ideas in this limited space. Looking at the historical step that is taken in the members of the control room, I feel very happy as the person in charge of the ground station. I hope we could continue supporting Hayabusa 2 until it comes back to Earth in 2020. So this impactor operation will be very important today. So where are we? So we are all very motivated. Earlier, the Explorer, impactor, separation, sequence, final decision, gate 3 check was conducted. And as a result, all equipment had no problem, and we had a go decision. So finally, we will come into the operation of creator creation. So we cannot go back. In the morning briefing, we had the message from people in charge. We already studied everything, so we have confidence, but we cannot let off our guard. That was the message. Thank you very much. So first of all, before going into the operation, let us review the touchdown. That was a big success the other day. Hosoda-san, Tsukizaki-san, please. Yes. So let me use the slide. There was a video earlier. Touchdown was conducted on the 22nd of February. And after that, towards the crater creation, we had been exploring the search operation of the crater creation area from March 6th to 8th and 20th to 26th. After we succeed this operation today, on the week of April 22nd, we will do the confirmation. So, touchdown. As you see on page 6, Hayabusa 2 descended. And on February 22nd, Japan time, at 7:29, it reached the surface of asteroid. And on this screen, this is now captured. In the left photo in green, the diameter 6 meter, diameter 3 meter radius. This is where we aimed to touch down. And in the following data analysis, we found out that we were only 1 meter off for the touchdown. This was confirmed. And before and after the touchdown, the surface of the asteroid changed black. And the right photo, you can see Hayabusa 2's shadow. The point of touchdown is black. So this, you can see that the touchdown was successfully done from the photo, as mentioned. The touchdown is captured like a video. This is, thanks to your donation, this is the camera that is attached under the Explorer. Touchdown.
That's cool. So this is a video
And
showing.
So in this microgravity, there are gravels and sand that flow up. This is a very sensational
So
video.
let me know if the
and we
video
watched
volume's
this
okay?
video with big surprise, as people around the world did as well. So next page is the following descent operation outline. You may not be familiar with this, but in the world map, like the world map, the Ryugu asteroid also has a map. The touchdown site is Tamatebako was named afterwards. This is where the touchdown happened. This time, the impactor targeted S01 area. It's on the right side, yellow circle of the slide. So this is where we searched, and S01 in red dot was the target. And this is the planned crater creation site. Now, the topography of this area, to look in more detail, we did a descent operation twice in March. So 20 kilometers above the asteroid, we started the descent, and down to 1.7 kilometers. And using the camera and scientific equipment, we collected data. And the purple area was searched very thoroughly. With this data, finally today, we will create the artificial crater with the impactor. The place of this crater site, what was the most important element in your selection? First, that it can land and that it's spacious.
So
there are other scientific values that were taken into account before the final decision. Thank you very much.
So to answer Fenmill's question about whether or not they'll be able to detect any change in Ryugu's orbit, the answer is yes, given the fullness of time, if that change is less than would occur from sunlight pushing on the asteroid. It would be minor. There will be something. Is my hair getting green screened?
So Imamura-san has come back. He's still wearing a helmet. So where did you go? Well, we are working with an impactor, and we will be exploding 10 kilograms of explosives. It's quite a risky operation. So to be mindful of safety, I have decided to wear a helmet. Is there one for us as well? Well, you have to protect yourself. Please take initiative yourself. During the experiment, I'm sure everyone was wearing a helmet. And of course, we weren't located where we would have been hit by the scattering matter. But I will show you the image of that later on. And so that we can experience the 3D atmosphere. So if I could ask Yamamura-san to explain the operation on this occasion and allow me to use a slide to explain. So with regards to the impactor, We call it the SCI, and it's abbreviation for Small Carrier-on Impactor. So we'll create an artificial crater on Ryugu, and we will expose the underground and try to get the information from the underground that is exposed, and we will touch down near the artificial crater, and we'll try to sample materials created as a result of the crater generated. But if it is risky, we may not do this. Why do you want to look at what is inside the or underneath the surface? A similar question was asked previously, and like we get sunburned by the sun, the asteroid also undergo the space weathering, and the surface condition change as a result. But if you go inside a little bit more, you'll be able to look at a fresh situation that has not been impacted by the space weathering. And the timing for the creation of artificial crater, it'll be 11:53, but on 11:36 on the Ryugu, that's when the detonation occurs. But it's going to be 11:53 when we will receive a signal. So there is a time lag until the data is received. It takes 70 minutes for the data to arrive here. And let me explain the sequence for the impact operation briefly. As you can see here,
Ref's map.
From the Earth, the solar, the cell panel, and the antenna.
Ref's map, you can't see this particular asteroid from Earth with anything other than a professional telescope. It's tiny.
On the horizontal the direction. Then after that, we'll try to retreat in the vertical direction. Then we will separate the deployable camera, and the Hayabusa 2 will retreat to a safety region. And 40 minutes later, the impactor will detonate, and liner is actually a copper plate that will collide with the surface of the Ryugu. But at that point in time, the explorer will be on the other side in a safe location, despite the scattering matter, and the DCAM-3 will try to take footage. But if scattering material hits the DCAM-3, then we may see the camera stop. And it takes about 40 minutes from separation to detonation, and it takes about 2 weeks for it to go back to the home position. This is a CG explaining what is going to happen. The dotted green line is measuring the surface to the distance to the surface using LiDAR, and the relative speed to the asteroid is 20 centimeters per sec. But the asteroid is rising by 15 centimeters per sec, so that's 5 meters per sec, essentially, that the impactor is approaching the asteroid. So it's centimeters, so 5 centimeters, I apologize for making a mistake, it's 5 centimeters per second, not 5 meters. And during separation, then during the retreat, the DCAM is separated, and the deployable camera remains there, and the Hayabusa will go behind the shade of the asteroid, and the DCAM should be able to take image like this at that detonation. That is our hope or expectation. And this is the example of the ejector. And by that time, the explorer is on the other side of the asteroid, and so it will be like this. So we're not able to see the location of detonation, so we'll be hiding in a safe location. If we had a scattering material hitting Hayabusa 2, that's going to be terrible, that's right. So this is the overview of the impactor that you saw before on the end. MLI is removed, but it is wearing MLI normally, and explosives are located towards the bottom in this way. And within the explosive section, detonation occur, and then copper plate. It's covered by stainless steel on the side, but because of the different hardness, and since the copper plate is softer, it elongates. And as you can see towards the bottom of the slide, in this way, so the copper plate, like a balloon, will be expand. Oh, this is not the slide that I wanted to show you. So it will kind of expand like a balloon, and it will fly. So the copper plate will deform. That's right. And the copper is relatively soft as a metal, and so there is going to explosion at a speed of higher than speed of sound, and the copper will separate out and will fly. And you can see a photo shot, a high-speed camera when it's flying, and there is a shock waves because it travels at higher than the sound of the speed, and that's 2 kilometers per second. That is the speed. And the size is about 30 centimeters, the diameter, and there is also the weight of the explosives there too. And Nihon Koki-san has created this explosive, and this is a model. This is 1/5 of the actual scale. So this is the explosive section, and so it's shaped like this. And so you can see that the copper is inside. The reddish color is copper, and what surrounds it is stainless steel, and there is a lid, and it's not connected electrically. So you have a line plate, which has a energy which collides with this, which conveys the force. And this is an image of when we did the testing on ground. So this is on the ground. Towards the bottom. So in this way, we did the experiment. It was a quite dramatic. So you need a force of that level to create a crater. So take something light, but to generate as much energy as possible. So that's the reason we came up with this method. Where did you do this? This is a place called Kamioka in Gifu Prefecture. So it's near Kamio-1. What's the outcomes gained from this? Well, this is a result of the experiment. And you can see that the projectile had traveled in a straight line, and it actually reached there. You can see that it went through the center and creating a crater. And this was done in the October of 2011 and October of 2013. So we did this twice. So initially we did this at half the size to check that it will travel properly. And in the second occasion, we did this using a full-side model, and we also did environment tests as well. So when we actually launch a rocket, you have the environmental conditions that apply, like shaking and things like that, and we need to confirm that it still operates even after going through that. Okay, so this is showing the location of the impactor, and Tsukizaki-san has already explained that before.
From the top, this is what it looks like. You have the sun, and the Earth is here, and Ryugu is here. So that's the location. On the Earth, the antenna is facing the Earth. Hayabusa 2 has antenna facing the Earth, and the solar battery is also facing the sun. The altitude is 20 kilometers, and at altitude of 500 meters, the impactor will be separated from the Earth. It will move sideways and then retreat backward, and the camera is detached. By the time the impactor detonates, SEI is here. It's in the shade of Ryugu. And then it'll take about 2 weeks to go back to the home position. It will go around this way. And the horizontal axis shows the time. From altitude of 20 kilometers, it descends. It's 10:40, so this is where it should be. At 11:13, that's. Well, can you show where it is? You can't see. So at 11:13 Earth time, SCI will be separated. At 10:56, it separates near Ryugu, but we come to know of that 11:13 on Earth. So at 11:31, the camera would have detached, and the SCI detonation will be confirmed at 11:53. So there are 3 points: the separation of the impactor, and the separation of the camera, and the detonation of the SCI. So these are the 3 important points. We'll be reporting on that from the control room. And this is the DCAM 3. And this is a model of that, a real size model, actual size model. And this is what we use for development, and it's almost identical. It's a very valuable model, and the size is the same as the real one. It's like a compact camera. It's very small, isn't it? Yes. And there's an analog camera. There are 2 lenses, and there's a digital camera, and then there's an analog camera as well. The analog one has low resolution, but can send images real time, and it's in color. And the digital one is high resolution, and it has a high field of vision. It's black and white. The images, we look forward to getting the images from the cameras. During the live coverage, unfortunately, we won't be able to see. We say real time, but it's sent to Hayabusa to real time. But the data is accumulated, and it takes some time for it to come back to Earth because we have priorities. In the afternoon, we will have scheduled a press conference. Maybe we can show the images then, perhaps. And the detached camera sends images, and there are errors. So if it's close, this is what it would look like. If it's distant, then it would look like this. And the expected crater size depends on the surface situation of the asteroid, from under 1 meter to close to 10 meters. That is what we think. And on Earth, we have done mock tests of the surface in Kobe University. And 2 weeks from then, it'll go back to the home position. And the week after that, we will explore and look for the crater that has been created. And as Dr. Tsukisaki explained, there are pictures that we have taken in advance and pictures we have taken afterwards, which we'll use to search. Let me show you the movements very briefly using a model. So let us assume I'm the Earth, and the antenna and the panel is facing the Earth, and it approaches, the Explorer approaches Ryugu, and that's altitude 500 meters. That's where the impactor will be separated. And after that, Hayabusa goes in that direction and goes around the side of the asteroid. And by the time the SCI detonates, it will be on the other side of Ryugu, so that it will not be hit by debris or ejecta. The movement of Hayabusa is quite simple, isn't it? Yes. But this is done while rotating around the sun, yes. So that's where it becomes a bit complex. The location of the sun and the Earth is shown on this diagram. So relatively, the movement is shown on the right-hand side. And this battery has to face the sun, and then it has to send data to the Earth. Basically, it's facing the Earth. They'll get the sun a little bit from the side. But for the most part, it'll be able to get sunlight directly facing front. Let us welcome the first guest. The impactor has been just explained. A person who was in charge of the impactor before, Mr. Ninomiya and Mr. Maru Izumi. Mr. Ninomiya is impactor engineer, and Mr. Maru Izumi is also impact engineer. So we have Dr. Ninomiya and Dr. Maru Izumi. During development, we owe them a great deal. They have made great contributions, and they had a lot of experience. So myself and Dr. Saeki had a lot of advice from the two gentlemen. Could we have a brief self-introduction, please? I have helped the development of the impactor. My name is Ninomiya. I look forward to having this discussion with you. I succeeded Dr. Ninomiya, and I have been involved in impactor-related work. My name is Haruki Maruizumi. As well as Dr. Ninomiya, worked for Nissan, and we were development of rockets, and because we were involved in Hayabusa work as well, I have been given this responsibility. So this is something that is very close to your heart, isn't it? And you must be very excited. In my own way, I have been involved in rocket development, and based on my experience, I was able to help out. In my own way, I think I have been able to give it my best. And this is, I'm very nervous because this is the real separation and detonation process. I'm perhaps more nervous than those who are actually involved. I pray that this operation will be a success. Thank you. Hayabusa 2 is such that explosives of 10 kilograms has been put on board. And this is an unprecedented amount of explosives. So there are issues related to safety on the rocket side, and we needed to guarantee safety, and we've struggled with that. And the two doctors have helped out a great deal with this aspect of the work, as has been mentioned. Since Osumi, we have launched different satellites, but a satellite which has this amount of pyrotechnic is unprecedented. Hayabusa 2 is the first one to carry this amount of pyrotechnic. So safe execution was a major issue, including the preparation stage. With regard to rockets, we have ample safety devices, but Hayabusa has a lot of missions, so it's packed with different devices and machinery, and to secure safety. Well, the more you load safety devices, the more the Explorer becomes overloaded. So we cannot put on everything. So we mustered our wisdom. We thought of something which we experienced 50 years ago when Osumi, the satellite was artificial satellite, was launched. Rocket safety devices were not as perfected as presently, and we thought of different procedures. And preventing unwanted current to go to devices is something that we had to think of. This electricity current that goes astray, this is something that we needed to prevent. Through the different power tests, we needed to confirm this. And we did that for the satellite Osumi, and we used this experience to secure safety this time. to secure safety. Could you go back to the slide, please?
So this is the explosive 9.5 kilograms. Yes, pyrotechnic. And this is physically blocked, shielded. So this is a 1/5 model. Electrically, it is not connected with the impactor. And here, the ignition safety equipment, safety is secured. And after the detonation, the flying disc comes and conveys. And then there is the booster, and the explosive explode. So ignition and safety is ensured by this ignition safety mechanism, which is the yellow part and red arrow. So this yellow box, this is in the red box below, and the actual photo is on the lower right. So using this mechanism, safety and ignition are realized at the same time. When by error, even if it activates by error, even with the flying plate, there's a shutter, and with this shutter, even if it flies, it can stop. And right before the detonation, it is disarmed, or the shutter is moved, and open the way, and the plate is flying so that the explosion can happen. And the two experts gave us much knowledge on this. So they were the key people to ensure ignition and safety. Mariizumi-san, anything else to add? Yes, thank you for the explanation. We don't want to have any unexpected problems with safety, but it has to operate when we want it to. So software, hardware, the sequence has to be accurate, millisecond and microsecond accurate. So we check this one by one, and finally we are here. So this is the result of all the efforts of people involved. So the latest technology materialized with all our efforts. So ignition and safety seems to be opposite of each other. It seems like a trade-off. So realizing both at the same time means that there is a big technology behind this. When this explodes unexpectedly, it will have grave consequences, so we are taking great care. So the impactor, Saiki-san is in charge of the impactor. Yes, Saiki-san, after the development of the impactor, he is in the system, and he is the flight director in charge of the entire operation. So he has one hat in the system and one hat on the impactor side. So a very big day for him. So do you have any encouraging message to Saiki-san? Yes, while I was involved in many development projects, but Saiki-san thought of various conditions to make sure that the operation works well. And this confirmation was done thoroughly, so I think we can be confident today. I wish the best of luck, Saiki-san. Thank you. I am hoping that this will be a success. Thank you for all the work. Yes, very encouraging words. Now we can only wait and see. So, shall we move on? Thank you very much.
I don't know what happened to their audio.
Now we would like to read out some message of support. Please. Yes, we've received many messages. Thank you very much. So let me read out 2 messages. Hayabusa 2, impactor, detonation, I hope the best of luck. DCAM, detonation, separation, and the retreat. I wish the best of luck. She has sent us message for a long time, so. Yoyakikin, Hayabusa 2 live distribution. The subtitle is for the hearing disabled people. There are many hearing disability people, and there are not many people who can take this part, so I hope this subtitle can play a role. Yes, I agree. Thank you. I hope this will increase. There are other questions too. So I will read them one by one as they come in. So the control room is sent the last go command and is at point of no return. They're all standing up and looking at the screen at the front. Right now, it seems calm. Tsukida-san, anything you could report to us? Yes, this is Tsukizaki speaking. We are having information being shared by the project manager now. And this is already a public information. Today, NASA Canberra station is used for the operation, and therefore, the information needs to be put in perspective. So we are organizing the information now. The atmosphere here is we are all working towards SCI separation, a bit nervous. And we're waiting for the time and watching the telemetry very closely. Telemetry is the explorer's data. So looking at the data that is being sent. Yes, so it is on standby, waiting for the separation, and we are all watching closely. So Canberra antenna is in Australia. So what does it mean to use that? Today in Japan, Nagano is windy. So last night, the operation of using antenna in Japan was given up and decided to use NASA antenna instead. In this kind of important operation, if one station cannot be used, we have a backup. Right. Thank you. Yes, exactly. So if you have any new news, please let us know.
And now, as for the Explorer, the SCI should have already been separated, and after the separation of SCI, the Explorer will start to retreat from the asteroid, but the light travels at a very slow speed, so we haven't received data as yet, so we are waiting for the data to arrive. I'd like to also explain some of the questions. The crater to be created by SCI, so what type of what shape of crater is desirable from the perspective of Hayabusa 2. Crater, I think, is something people consider to be quite round, and you may have seen the craters on Moon using a telescope. But on this occasion, we are creating a crater with an explosive. So if we ask the scientists, they would like to see a large and a big crater, but we will ask in detail later on. So let me introduce the next guest. So is Mr. Naoki Okumura, who was the former the president of JAXA. Quite a big guest on this occasion, a surprise guest. Thank you very much, former President Okumura. As a former president, during your tenure, Hayabusa 2's development was completed, and it has arrived at Ryugu and Minerva, the mascot. It was separated, and it landed, so it was a success. From the outside, what are your thoughts? If you could share with us your thoughts there. Yes, in the operation thus far, everything has gone according to plan and achieving success. And after I left, I've been looking at the progress from the outside, but the total power of this team is something that I have been very much impressed by. And Hayabusa, as I recall, we launched this back in 2010. And when we were to complete that project, there was many things for the very first time. Technology was one thing, destination was also the case, and we had to do many types of different operations. So to be honest, I was very nervous and anxious. I still remember that today. But despite that, if we look at the track record, we have been able to overcome these challenges, and we have been able to achieve successes thus far. And so for today and beyond, until the Explorer comes back to the Earth, I hope that the team power will be leveraged to achieve further success. The former president, you went to JAXA from private sector company, and so any thoughts from that perspective? Well, JAXA is a public organization, and private sector company, they have different roles, and how people do the tasks are different. But we are looking at space here, and I think it's important to bring the capabilities of both parties. It's essential to do that in the Hayabusa 2 on this occasion, and the impact for today is an example, but we had received significant support from the private sector companies. And despite the different roles, we are bringing together these capabilities and power. And in fact, we are trying to help each other mutually. And I think this type of approach is quite important in working on the space development, and including NAC, many the private sector company has participated. This mission has many things that's occurring for the very first time, and we are doing various types of operations, and many of the operations are for the very first time. So for hardware, the software, the functionality needs to be secure for each of the equipment, and through the sequence you need to progress in a smooth way. So design as a system is important. So we feel that we were facing many big challenges. So in operation as well, we want to leverage the wisdom of the private sector companies, and we want to ensure that the project goes to a success using all the Japanese capabilities. And if you could also share with me your expectations for JAXA and ISAS. Well, I said that there are different roles, but in terms of technological development, we're basically doing the same thing. The technological development at the companies, or the technological development we do at the National Institute like JAXA. It's the same. So people are working to create new values. And in order to create these new values, what I used to emphasize is that we need to take the initiative to create new values. And I think the same applies for the private companies as well. So taking the risk And even when all the powers were brought together, that was the area of focus. Yes, with the track record, I'd like for us to become more confident and make challenges to new areas. Space is infinite, and it's been about 13.8 billion yen years since the space was born. So we need to bring together the wisdom of many people so that we can gain a little more understanding at a time gradually, and hope that this will become an area that the young people and the children of today would like to enter into in the future. Through the broadcast today, we wanted the young people to look at the large challenge that we are working on. So the step-by-step outcomes that we have been able to achieve through Hayabusa 2 has been communicated to the world as being the first for mankind. And I hope the children become excited and want to have children want to engage in this area. And in order for that role to be played, I would like to continue to use your capabilities to ensure Hayabusa 2 comes back to Earth unscathed. And when Hayabusa 2 was launched, you went to Tanegashima. Anything that you may want to share with us regards to your trip to Tanegashima Island? Well, I remember that there was a bad weather which caused the launch to be delayed. And at that point in time, since we have more time, it made me worry about other things as well. And we used H2A to launch the Explorer, but there were still spec capabilities. So there was an extra satellite that was launched. So those missions needed to be a success as well. So when we are launching multiple satellites at the same time, there is a unique the nervousness as well. And when we're doing a global or Earth orbit, you know the success relatively quickly. But for exploration of the asteroid, when you go outside the Earth, then we don't know until the end whether the mission was a success or not. So it does leave you with a lot of expectations, a lot of concerns. And there is always the time lag until the data come back. And it's nerve-wracking in one sense. And we have to see the detonation of the impactor later on. So please stay with us until then. I hope for the very best success today. Thank you.
I don't know where their audio went. I think this is on their end. Not sure. Look at my... Okay, I need to find that window. I'm so sorry for the lack of audio. They are clearly waiting for something to happen. I'm sorry for the frantic coding that is going on in the background. I got a request from a colleague to help out by creating some code, and I'm currently coding as fast as my little fingers can do it. So bear with me. I'm so close to having this code done. About 3 minutes for confirmation of separation. Thank you for that information. Okay, we're starting to get some audio, so we're clearly hearing just the room. So I'm saving this pretty much constantly. Yeah. This is I'm basically saving and testing constantly, because I need this to work and I need this to work accurately. And yeah. And I just wrote the most difficult to read line I've ever written in code.
We're covering the control room at this moment. The time is drawing near for the impactor to be separated. 11:13 is the time. In the control room, we feel a bit of tension, don't we? To separate, it'll accelerate upward for a moment. And I think that is what is being confirmed. So the 3 points of focus. This is the first point of focus. That is the impactor to be separated. That's the first point. And after that, Hayabusa will go to the other side of the asteroid. That's the second point. And after that, the camera will be detached at 11:31. The separation of the SCI, what makes you know that it has been separated? Unlike landing, there'll be communication constantly with the Explorer. So telemetry from the Explorer will show through data that the separation has indeed taken place, and we will make the decision. I'm sorry, I'm not being very clear. Can you hear me? This is the control room. And as planned, things are proceeding smoothly, and that has been confirmed. The SCI separation will be known through the temperature where the separation had taken place and the attitude of the Explorer. That has been explained. And what is the atmosphere like inside the control room? The attitude system is emitting a very important data. So the attitude people are sending, communicating information to the rest of the team in the control room. 10 seconds from now, SCI separation confirmation will start. So there's a bit of tension here. 3, 2, 1.
Do we actually see anything? Do we get to find anything out? How does this work?
The countdown has gone down to 0 for SCI separation. And people are focusing on the data. It'll take a little more time before we can confirm. Dr. Tsukizaki mentioned temperature. What does that mean? How do you know that the separation has occurred from the temperature? When SEI is separated on the Explorer side, the surface on the Explorer will come into contact with the cool portion of space, and so the Explorer temperature will gradually go down. And so with that, we know that separation has taken place. But because of a temperature change taking some time, it'll take some time for us to confirm. Thank you. If it goes according to the planned sequence, shortly the Explorer will start to retreat after separation. And it's about time we will be able to confirm that this has happened, the retreat. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15. What is this count? Is it counting up? They're counting up. Yes, the count up is taking place inside the control room. The attitude team is activating the propellant to see if the Explorer is moving. And they're trying to catch the appropriate timing. The operation today is such that, well, normally, rather than the data from the Explorer, radio waves, the Doppler waves, and information on this normally would come first. But today, because we're using overseas station, there's a 1 minute to 2 minute delay of data to be transmitted. So Explorer telemetry data comes first to let us know the status of the Explorer. We're using different methods. We're using the Doppler method, or we're receiving data from the Explorer, and we're using all of this to confirm. They've activated the jet, and the Explorer would move horizontally. And we're trying to confirm whether this has been performed according to schedule. Presently, the Explorer, when it shakes, the antenna moves a bit. So there may be instances where communication is interrupted, but that is not posing a problem. We're able to communicate smoothly. According to my watch, the major horizontal movement of the Explorer will take place going to the other side of the asteroid, and the camera will be detached in this process, during this process. Is that right? Yes. That's the second point of focus in today's operation. Yes, that's correct. Dr. Hosono has Dr. Hosoda has talked about the movement of the Explorer, which is going according to schedule. It's going smoothly. Hayabusa 2 has 12 RCS. That's a jet thrusting device. And this time, for the first time, we're activating this for an extended period to retreat all at once. And so those responsible for this are quite tense, quite nervous. Within a limited period of time, this activation has to take place. This movement has to take place. Yes, actually, it's 40 minutes. In 40 minutes, it has to move to a safe area. Within 40 minutes, all the processes have to be completed. So normally, it's a speed which is faster than the speed that it used to operate on along with Ryugu. After it has gone into space, this is the fastest speed at which the Explorer is moving.
So it's 20 minutes. So it will soon come behind the asteroid. Right now, the attitude control people, this is the peak of your operation today, so I think they're nervous, the people who are on the camera right now. I'm sure people in the control room are very tense and very focused, and we had guests earlier here. Inside this building, in Japan and the world are paying attention to this. Yes, exactly. So we are having supporting message on hashtag, one after another. Thank you for all the message. I get carried away watching this atmosphere. Maybe perhaps you could read some messages? Yes, I will.
The translator doing two different people is hilarious. Kudos to this
so
translator.
We're having a count
She's
up
kind of
again
amazing.
in the control room. So the retreat behind the asteroid. So this is count up of the jet explosion, jet activation for the Explorer to come behind the asteroid. So impactor. So now the jet of the Explorer was successfully activated. So the jet is activated. It was announced. What is the facial expression of the people in charge? Are they still nervous? Not relieved yet.
And they lost audio again.
Human being can check this right away, but we're far away, and so we have to wait. It takes patience. Yes, all the reporters in the studio are silent. And in the control room, we heard some conversation before, but now it's very quiet. All of them are watching the data. And I am also in this tense atmosphere. SCI detonation will be 40 minutes from the separation of SCI. So 11:53 according to the plan. Yes. Right now from Earth to Explorer, Explorer to Earth is round trip is around 37 minutes. So 40-minute retreat has to be done automatically. And so after the separation, the Explorer has to automatically retreat from the Earth. We can only hope. If you have chronograph, the viewers, if you could switch it on, and please watch for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long light leg. But progress is getting made. And
the next big event is the horizontal movement and DCAM 3 separation. So those are the next event, big event, around 11:31.
Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. You're usually much more interesting. I am currently working on rapidly coding something for a colleague that is super secret, and I can't wait till I have permission to tell you. If this works, there's someone else also coding.
I have a question to you. So this explorer's retreat is 5 meters per second? Just a minute? That's my understanding. Let me check.
So we are waiting and waiting and waiting because this is what we do. This is what we do. We wait. Is my dog being pathetic? No, she's just being sleepy. She is the laziest Australian Shepherd known to man. The dog that you see in the background is Miss Stella Sky. She is about 6 months old. Earlier today, she dug a massive hole in my backyard to try and bury one of her stuffed toys. But she's adorable, so she can get away with it. So welcome, everyone. As I said earlier, I am currently in the process.
In the Sagamihara City Museum, there is a public viewing today. And we are receiving message from people in the public viewing venue. Last time, touchdown was early in the morning, but this time it's 10 a.m., so it's probably easier for people to come. Do you hear us, people in the museum? So we are watching this closely. So the speed is 2 to 3 meters per second. That's the speed of retreat. Thank you for that. This is just roughly. Until now, the speed was 10 centimeters. That was the speed of descent. So this is a quick retreat, isn't it? Yes, so it's like, until now it was like babies crawling, but now it's suddenly like jogging, adults jogging. So the engine will be consumed. Yes, ion engine had been saving the fuel until now, so now this will be thanks to all the effort now. Yes, so they are saving and saving the fuel to come back. I'm focused too much on the operation. This is from the control room. We confirmed that the planned speed is achieved. So from the attitude control team, they announced the members in the control room. So DCAM separation is next. So the planned speed is 2 to 3 meters a second. Yes. So horizontal 1.3 meters and 0.7 meters vertically. So horizontally we have the planned speed. And now we also check the vertical speed as well. So that's how you are checking where the Explorer is now?
That's weird that they just cut off the audio again. So what I was saying is I'm madly
flash
coding
report
for a colleague.
on at 11:13. SCI was separated and the retreating action was taken, and this was reported. So things are progressing steadily. So the next key point will be a separation of the camera. Is that the case? Yes. So the people responsible for DCAM, I'm sure they were being very nervous in the control room as well. Everyone is looking at the monitor. So at the separation of the camera, what data is used to make judgment? Well, for the separation of the camera, there is a mechanism for releasing the camera, and the check will be done based on the signal received. And after that, we'll check later on to see whether we are receiving image from the camera or not. So 1,000 seconds after the separation of the impactor, and 1,000 seconds later, then the imaging will start, or taking of images will start. So once the data is sent of the images, then we know that it has been separated successfully. But we won't be able to confirm that during the live broadcast. Not the photos themselves, but whether we have started to take images or not, we should be able to confirm. And after the separation of the camera, the image scan will start 1,000 seconds later on. So it's 1,000 seconds from right now. So Hayabusa 2 have already retreated. Yes, Hayabusa 2 has escaped to a safe region, and it's only camera that remain in the dangerous or risky area. Come on, DCAM 3. And after separation, and so the Explorer, the time has arrived for the camera to be deployed, and so it would have been deployed. But I will continue with the report from the inside later on. So within the control room, there was a bit of a reaction, and from the attitude system, we were able to observe a data that indicates the separation. We are checking. Well, people are starting to look a little bit more cheerful. So the data that was received was as expected based on the atmosphere that we are able to see in the control room. So probably Hayabusa 2, based on looking at the movement of the Hayabusa 2, yes, when separation occurs, there is going to be impact to the attitude system. So we are just evaluating that. But since people look quite cheerful, it seems as though everything is going quite steadily. Yes, bit of a laughter. Yes, you probably heard the laughter because my microphone was still on, and the jet was activated on the Explorer, and Hayabusa 2 is continuing to escape into a safety region. So it was a laughter of relief. That's right. And Tsukizaki-san will come back to the studio, and the Hosoda-san will now, or has now, entered into the control room. From the special studio, let us continue with the talk. We now have the next guest with us, and he was involved in development previously, and or people who were involved in the development but no longer in the development, doing something else. The first is Mr. Keiichi Kujiki as a function manager, and we have Mr. Hiroyuki Minamino, a former sub-manager for Hayabusa 2. So we have these two guests. So if I could ask each of you to briefly self-introduce yourself. Hello. From the beginning of the project, I was a sub-manager, and I was providing support for the launch operation. And my name is Minamino, and very nice to meet you all. For me, in October of 2012, so that was a phase from flight model, or when that becomes the mainstay. I was in the position of function manager, so I was basically involved in the management of things like money and things like that. And Minamino-san and Kushiki-san, I've worked with these two gentlemen a lot previously, and specifically when you were involved, what did you do, and what are some of the struggles that you had to face and overcome? Minamino-san? Well, initially when we started the project, and what type of concept were we going to use? And that was always a very difficult part. So not that we will work on sample return only, but how to bring back samples from within the asteroid. And so the impact is a fruit of that effort. So I'm looking at the progress today with a lot of excitement. So San, what do you think? Some of the struggles? Well, it's been quite a while, and I'm starting to forget some of the details. But for the most of the duration that I was involved in the project, I was in a position to have to deal with troubles or the problems, and there were many problems that I cannot talk in detail here about, but that was essentially what I used to do all throughout the year. So in looking at the operation of Hayabusa 2, one would get an image that everything has gone very smoothly, but behind the scenes, there was a lot of struggles that had enabled this to happen. Yes, there was quite a hard mountain to climb in one sense, but the fact that we have gone this far, I think, is very encouraging and promising. And the researchers back then, Kushiki-san and Kizuki-san, I think these people worked earnestly and till the end made effort to remove anything that could lead to problems. And I think this was quite significant. And people used to stay back until late in night. And I was looking at this. I was in the kind of a managing position, so I wasn't able to be of much use. But it was those efforts that has enabled things to go quite steadily and smoothly on this occasion. And from the control room, this is Hosono speaking. So Kushiki-san and the Minamino-san, thank you for everything. And for us, yes, we have gone through the set of the maneuvers, and we saw people shaking hands. And I see, yes, I've talked about this as being JET before, but it is a small rocket for activating JET that controls the attitude of the Hayabusa 2. And Minamino-san was responsible for the JET that altered the attitude.
At Tanegashima, they also worked. And do you have any memories from your days at Tanegashima? Kushiki-san, please. Tanegashima, memories of Tanegashima? Well, when we came to that phase of work, rather than trouble, it was just about doing what was decided. Otherwise, we would not perform the work on time. And so we were careful about everybody remaining in good health, and it was just putting our nose to the grindstone. And when the launch took place in the control room, the project manager, Dr. Kuinaka, gave words of greeting to the staff. And that was when we were most excited. The difficulties which led up to this came back to us at that time, and so it was overwhelming. Rather than Tanegashima, I'd like to talk about Sagamihara. When we were preparing operations after launch, we confirmed the situation in Tanegashima, and we were looking at the procedures for operation and what plans we would formulate. We were putting all of this together. So rather than memories of Tanegashima, working hard to prepare in Sagamihara was the part which remains very vivid in my memory. At the time of launch, most of the project members were preparing for the initial operations. They were at Sagamihara for the initial operations after launch. And it's exactly as has been mentioned. Even before Hayabusa, there were people who were involved in some kind of development. Those with a lot of capacity and skill were collected from different departments of JAXA for the launch of Hayabusa 2. And it is with this help we finally managed to launch. I was a newly recruited member, so I did not know left from right. I was trying very hard to catch up to those who were more experienced. So there's a long period of preparation. So you learn by looking at what your seniors do. And so during all of this, you're educating the young recruits. Mr. Tsukizaki is very competent. He's one of the treasured members of the team, and he was very active. I'm in a different position now. Everyone is working very well, and I am overwhelmed to see that. And I feel that I have left things in good hands, and I feel that very secure and very confident that things will go well. I'm in SMA company. The company looks after safety and quality control and reliability with different projects. We work together with different projects to provide support for early launch of good quality craft. What are you involved in? After the launch of Hayabusa 2, I'm a little bit, well, I was a little bit burnt out, but I'm now in a different project. Small size moon lander, SLIM, is what I'm working on. It's a small explorer, and high precision landing on the moon is what this project is about. The scientific thrust propellant. This is the core part of this new project as well, isn't it? The SLIM website is what I'd like to direct you to. If you look at this website, it's it's an explorer similar to the rocket. Most of this consists of the thruster or propellant device. It's compared to Ryugu, Moon is closer. It has gravity, and so therefore it's difficult. And so I struggle every day. Very soon, we'll have a response confirming telemetry of separation in about 7 minutes or so. 11:53, I think, will be the time at which the control room will be to confirm the return of the telemetry. So could we have a few words from those who are involved in the operation? This is the climax. The crater will be generated after this, and we hope that definitely the samples will be brought back. So thank you very much. We've come this far. We hope that you will follow through. We hope that the fate will favor us and nothing wrong takes place. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us at the control room. So we'd like to go back to the control room now.
So I just wanted to address what Ruff's Matt was bringing up about how there have been no new asteroid names since October. I am going to look into this. There are various things that could be related to this. It could be an issue with the Minor Planet Center, which is at the Center for Astrophysics in Boston, which is part of Harvard. It could be an issue with the International Astronomical Union, which elected all new officers.
Hosoda-san in the control room. This is Tsukizaki at the studio. Can you hear me? Operation continues. We've had Mr. Minamino and Mr. Kushiki talk to us, and they hope that things will go well. In the control room, we're about to face a critical time. 11:50. The camera will communicate that things are functioning smoothly, and at 11:53 the impactor detonation will take place. 180 seconds from then. There'll be a check concerning the sequence of retreat of the explorer. And when we have concluded all of this, I believe there'll be a sigh of relief from the control room. The staff in the control room are looking at the screens. What are they looking at? Hosoda-san, can you hear me? I believe in the control room, everyone is looking at screens. What are they looking at? there's communication has been established between the explorer, so they're looking at information from the explorer. In the respective people are looking at the devices that they're responsible for. Are they looking at the device, the attitude and temperature? Are they looking at devices that they're responsible for? Data from regarding devices that they're responsible for.
So very few people are sitting down. They're all standing up.
Okay, we have applause.
And I saw some smiles. And the person in charge of DCAM, and applause. This was the separation camera, deployable camera. So what was confirmed now? Just a moment. So the deployable camera.
Applause is always good, Nigel.
Moved as scheduled. And that was confirmed. Then the image will be captured soon after.
Okay, so if we are getting the signal and the image was captured soon after that, I wonder if that means the signal from the image will appear soon after.
Another applause. So the electric wave is coming from the camera, but the image will be later.
Okay.
So here in front of the studio, we have a screen where we can see the situation of the explorer. The imaging started. Oh, we don't know yet. We have to check. So the camera is operating properly. Yes, camera and communication. This is what we all wanted to know. Now, this will be the proof that the camera has physically been separated? I will ask later. The official information will come from the project manager later.
And it's totally lunchtime there, so all these people are working through lunch. And I don't think any of them care.
I hear the countdown again. In the control room, we hear a countdown. So that's this is the countdown for the SCI impactor detonation. The camera is working well. Now we're waiting for the SCI to be detonated on schedule. SCI is the impactor. So we don't know yet. So the retreat action will be confirmed. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So it happened, and now we're waiting for information. And that dude is
the
still wearing the helmet.
The impactor detonation should have been done.
Yeah, Michael, I agree. They are not thinking about lunch. So fellow hoodlum.
So now the situation is being checked. Just a moment.
The guy in the helmet said at the beginning of this that it seemed appropriate to wear a helmet to an explosion. And so he's just being silly. I'm just amused that his silliness is carried on. It does make him easy to spot.
So this count up is 180 seconds. Yes, up to the confirmation of the retreat action. We're counting up to 180 seconds. So 2 more minutes. System Takei-san is managing this.
Yes, Michael, I agree.
Very difficult. We can't know right away. So there's a graph of Hayabusa 2 in the screen in the control room. It's Doppler, AGC. So this is the receiving strength of the wave from the Explorer. And the receiving strength, what does this tell you? Oh, it should not change. Right. This time, safe retreat and communication continue from the Explorer. All right, please look at the camera of the control room. So the impactor detonates. So Explorer need to continue moving even after the detonation of the impactor. Again, the atmosphere is a bit tense. 170.
And now we wait.
The person in helmet is Dr. Imamura. He is on the left side of the screen. So retreat action was successful. Project manager announced the success. And many are cheering,
They are all
applauding.
happy.
So SCI was an equipment with very dangerous explosives, and they are shaking hands. Another success.
I love how excited they look.
Let's applaud in the studio too.
I wonder when we're going to get the
Many
videos
smiles
back
in the
on.
control room. Great view.
So I believe the
They're
small
all patting
robot,
each other on the back and shaking hands. So the volume of the control room suddenly went up. They're all sharing their joy. We can see and hear them. So SCI detonation. This relief comes from confirming that the Explorer is well and healthy, intact.
they survived.
We don't know. We still have to check the data to see the detail, but we are happy that the retreat action took place. We need to wait to see if the artificial crater has been created.
There's
So
a
as
Death
far as
Star.
we can see in the studio, the camera is still functioning. But we have to download the image of the camera to the Earth to check that. So we have to hope for that. Now RCS Mori-san will come to the studio after this. So please wait for a moment.
So if this is like last time, sometime tomorrow, we will get absolutely amazing videos back. It does take time to download all of the
So
bits.
the smiles and applause settled.
And their audio went away again.
The project manager has a nice smile on his face. So So after this retreat, there will be a break, and that is the next checkpoint. So after accelerating and retreating, they are going back to the original speed? Yes.
So this poor woman is trying to translate multiple people. She's doing this in real time, and kudos to the translator.
So Dr. Tsuda, project manager, and to his left, NEC project manager, Mr. Oshima. So the manufacturer and JAXA, two project managers are now talking to each other. We see this on YouTube.
And former President Okumura-san mentioned that the collaboration with the private sector company is essential. So in this way, there is a daily cooperation that has led to the success on this occasion. With regards to Hayabusa 2, it has been supported by many companies, was developed, manufactured, and operated. And without such cooperation, this project would not have achieved success. NEC is taking a leading role, but Maruizumi-san talked about the Nissan. Around 20 years ago, and Nissan Motors was also involved in the development of the aircraft. Now it's called IHI Aerospace, that the company has been renamed to, and so the business itself still remains today. And Mitsubishi Heavy Industry, Fujitsu, and many other companies have participated in this project. I can't name everyone, but we have received support from all these people. Control room, the people responsible for DCAM is looking at the screen. We have not been able to confirm the images as yet, but it seems that they feel somewhat relieved. Now, what's the communication speed? Is that 4K BPS? It's just 4K with the Explorer. So we are able to use a high-yield antenna. I think they're using a digital camera to take photos, and one photo is usually 1 megabyte or 2 megabytes. I think the photos are like that. And the photos at that level, well, in comparison, the house was taking photos with a smaller the volume, but in order to send a photo to the Earth, it will take at the minimum of 10 minutes. And if the communication speed is slow, it could take several tens of minutes or even several hours for the data to be sent. But on this occasion, we are taking many photos with the camera. So to transfer all of the photos to the Earth, based on my experience, it will take at the least 1 week. And that would have to come back to Earth in that time, the frame. And only by looking at the photos, we know that the operation on this occasion has been success. Now we are here at the SCI. Everyone is not fully relieved yet. We know that the retreat, the action has been a success, but we still need to wait for the confirmation. And when we talked about touchdown, you talked of quite a good the moving picture that was able to be taken. But on this occasion, it's going to be photo. On this occasion, we are taking the images once every second or so. So once every second, I think the images are taken. And after the impact detonates, And for it to have arrived at the asteroid, we're probably taking 1, 2, 3 images. And if we have been able to take an image of that, that would mean a significant success. And prior to this operation, he was speaking with Sauda-san responsible for the camera, and was saying that this is going to be a very difficult operation as to whether it's going to succeed or not, or as to whether we are able to take photo or not. It's going to be quite challenging. That was what he was saying. And for the lay people, the photo is most convincing. Even if you say that you have been able to confirm based on data, it still doesn't kind of ring a bell for us. But it is so difficult to show things by photo. Yes, particularly in this, on this occasion, camera is separated, so it's not attached to the Explorer. So camera is separated into the space, and what is taken by the camera is data transferred to Hayabusa, the mothership, remotely. And so the difficult thing is to see whether the camera was looking at the target properly or not. Yes, there was a confirmation of the behavior to put a brake. So the attitude and the thruster teams showing a sense of relief. So in other words, Hayabusa 3 has successfully moved to a safety location and has arrived at the retreat location or safety location. We're going to be inviting Mori-san from the RCS or ICS engineer. So you'll be coming to the studio later on. There was a somewhat a difficult question. Well, let ask Mr. Mori, a guest, to come into the studio. So we have Mr. Osamu Mori, RCS engineer, here with us. Yes, he was in the control room just until a few seconds ago. But first of all, congratulations on a great job. Now, the thruster or the propellant system played a significant role for the operation of the impactor. Having done your work, what is your impression? Well, we did a lot of experiment, but when you do this for the real, then I was very much nervous. There is a few seconds where the telemetry disconnects, and once it reconnects, we know whether the propellant had actually activated or not. And the propellant system was improved quite a lot on this occasion because we had major issue with Hayabusa 1. So maybe we should show you a slide. So you can see here, and so this is kind of a slide that I wanted to share with you. So what you can see here is the Hayabusa 2's, the RCS, the reaction control system. And we call this the bipropellant thruster system. So the fuel and the oxidizer is mixed to ignite. So that is essentially how this operates. And the thruster, we have 12 units in total. We have number 1 to number 12. And you have the odd numbered thrusters and even numbered thrusters, and 6 each. In other words, we have 2 systems. That is the scheme. Thruster is where the thrusting or the propulsion occur. And if you could go to the next slide. so you may be able to see the nozzle. The nozzle is in the shape of a skirt or like a bell. Yes, it's like a bell sidewise. And this, when during the combustion with the oxidizer and the fuel is mixed and it burns, and the temperature rises. And if you continue to use the propellant for a long duration, it starts to melt. And so we must make sure that that doesn't occur. What's the temperature here? Well, at the foot of the bell is probably between 700 to 800 degrees C. And that position itself is okay, but there is a bulb towards the root that could be damaged if it is exposed to high temperature for long duration. So we have tried to prevent the temperature from traveling too much. But on this occasion, we was in a parallel movement, and so we had to operate this for quite a while. So when we did a test in January, we did this for 10 seconds. Normally, we've only done 5 seconds, but in the experiment, we actually had the injection done for 10 seconds. But even that's a half the duration. On this occasion, we did this for 20 seconds, which is twice that. So as to whether 20 seconds can be maintained or not. And I think you were with the people from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. What were they feeling, do you think, at that time? Well, they weren't showing it in their facial expression, but at the end, I think they were kind of relieved. They showed the expression of relief. Everyone was saying that it was going to go well, but once you were able to see the result, that it was success, everyone was laughing. I think, Mori-san, you probably will work on the propellant systems going forward, propulsion of the system going forward. And what are some of the effort that you're assuming going forward?
Yes. There are different types of RCSs, or chemical propellants. The most simple one uses cold gas, or it's called cold gas. It's a high-pressure gas. That's on the very left-hand side, a high-pressure gas. And the liquefied gas is sometimes used. Jetting fuel. We've mixed oxidants this time. It's a bipropellant system. But in addition to that, ion engines is being used in Hayabusa this time. And solar cells. Icarus did this, where this, light pressure is used. And then there are combinations which are being studied. We hope that you will continue to develop high-quality propellant systems for JAXA. I'm sorry we took you away from your work. We wish you lots of luck in your work.
Okay, so now comes the question of what do we do while we wait? It's interesting to watch all of these different people wandering around. It's all getting super exciting. Their stream is scheduled to last, I think, for 15 more minutes. I'm not sure. Of course, it doesn't say underneath. So now we wait. People don't often realize just how much of science is waiting for your exposure to finish, waiting for your data to process, waiting for the graphs to come out, waiting for the simulation to end, waiting for someone else to check your numbers.
We have Mr. Kuninaka once again at the studio. Perhaps we could have a few words from him. Oh, we had a few words from him in the beginning, and then he continued to observe what was taking place in the control room. It's was good that everything went well. Could we have final comments from you? Thank you very much to our viewers and to those who have supported us. Thank you very much. And as has been mentioned, the SCI operation is coming along smoothly, and we're downloading the link using high-speed system. And lastly, I'd like to use the PowerPoint to explain about the ISIS and space search. Earlier, when we did the touchdown on the 22nd of February, mainly the ISIS's future plans were explained. So let me recap what I explained then. The first page, which I'd like to show, is our activities and our future activities in the area of space. It's a bit outdated, but you have the X arm in the middle of the top row, and this is under development. X astronomical satellite, PRISM is the name. There was an accident in 2010 and we lost the Astro Edge. This is a substitute which is being developed. 2021 is the scheduled date for launch of this. That's the X-ray. And then as the future plan, we have Lightburb on the right-hand side. That's the name of the mission. Microwave radiation, background high radiation was used. It's used to measure the old time space at the time of Big Bang. And then on the right-hand side, we have infrared astronomical satellite. And this is being proposed at the moment. X-ray, you have X-ray and infrared and radio waves. These are to be integrated to look into the history of space, which dates back 13.8 billion years. We'll be integrating different waves to explore. We'll use telescopes and gravity waves and so forth. We will collaborate to look into the space history, which goes back 13.8 billion years. And then solar space research is another area. From Mercury to Jupiter, in about 10 years from now, we have satellites. We will have satellites in these areas between the two planets, and this is the deep space fleet. We'll have a lot of explorers in space, in place, and we used to work with each unit, each spacecraft to collect information, but we'll use the fleet. Swarming is what we call it. We will look into the history of solar space, which dates back 4.6 billion yen. We'll be looking at the comets and asteroids, and we'll be doing sample returns. Up until now, we used a telescope to observe planets distant from us, but we will go to planets and we will bring back samples, and we will use high precision observation devices and analytical devices to do research, to look into the history of the solar system history. And what we showed today was Hayabusa 2. It was launched in 2014, and finally it has touched down, and we've launched the impactor in 2010. It will come back in 2020. It will come back and it will deliver samples. And after that, beyond that, we have MMX, Martian Moon Exploration Program, MMX. In Martian, there are two moons, Phobos and Deimos. We'll land on either of these. And this has been a proposal which was approved by the government, and we have just started development. Launch is 2024. If you look at the bottom, The launch is scheduled for 2024, and in 2025 it'll arrive at Mars, and it will conduct activities for 3 years, and will come back with a sample in 2029 and toward the moon. We have this SLAM, Smart Lander for Investigation Moon. We will make a pinpoint landing on the moon. It's the SLIM mission, which is already being developed. And this was launched at the same time as PRISM in 2021. Around 2021 is the scheduled time for launch. Up until now, we made landings on the moon, but there are margins of errors by order of several kilometers. We'll take this a step further. 100-meter high-precision landing will be done, and we want to place the Explorer right in front of what we want to see. The exposure of mantle substances is what we want to watch, and we want to make a landing pinpoint with a margin of error of 100 meters or so to directly check the rocks. And so Mars and Moon in these areas, JAXA will be performing high precision missions. And this is, and the central subject today is the International Space Search Program, which we'd like to explain. Missions to the moon. If you look at the middle of this page, there's the Kaguya. 2008 and 2009, it's remote sensing, and then using this data, what I've talked about, a small size landing device, a SLIM, will be an operation that we'll be doing. And we want to expand our activities on the moon through this. And at the very top, you have Mars. And with regard to Mars, MMX, I explained MMX earlier. And with this as a trigger, we'd like to access the surface of Mars. And what's important for these programs is international space search. If you look at the very bottom, a space station has been completed in 15 countries. 15 countries are working together on this. And finally, away from the Earth, we're moving closer to the moon to create another space station. Around the moon, there's a near rectilinear halo orbit. We'll use that so that around the moon we want to launch a new space station in collaboration with the countries of the Earth, with 15 countries. And the name is Gateway. From the Earth, via the Gateway, we'll come to the surface of the moon. And then we'll go further on to the Mars. And this will be a stepping stone for this, and the Gateway would look like this. In 2018, in the United States has framed a budget for this and has embarked on this program. And in what way the countries of the world would participate in this Gateway project is what we're discussing at the moment. And Japan would definitely like to participate. And using this in 2024. United States wants to send man onto the moon once again. 2 days ago, that was announced by Secretary Blankenstein, and in 1933 he announced that men will be sent to Mars. And this is the action program. 2019, around the Earth, there's space stations. 15 countries of the world have space stations. Japan is playing a major role. And then we want to complete a Gateway in the orbit of the moon, and then using that as a stepping stone to land on moon, sending another man on, sending men on to the moon once again in and then in the middle of 2030 to send humans to Mars. At the very top it says 2020, 2030 and 2040. And This is the time schedule for this diagram. This is an action program for the future. Within 5 years, we'll send humans to the moon. And this is a joint international program which is about to start. And 15 years from now, we'll be sending people to Mars, and that is already starting. How will Japan participate?
We will discuss, and work with the world to participate in this program. So this is the international global exploration. Young viewers, high school students, university students, those in your 20s, in 5 years' time, people may often go to the surface of the moon, and 15 years from now, when a 20-year-old becomes 35, as the global joint program, we may be sending people to the surface of Mars. So if you think of your own age, this is not the historical timeline. This is the action guideline, action plan towards the future, and this is about to start. So asteroid and Mars and Moon and space station programs. We are trying to go to Mars. So this great global joint program is waiting for us in 15 years' time, and this is just about to start. So for this joint program, I hope you could have high ambitions and take part in it. So this is the Global Exploration Roadmap overview. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Imamura-san's back. And the live broadcast time is about to end. So for 2 hours, we have broadcasted Hayabusa 2 operation. What is your impression?
The pictures
I reported
are
from
still
there.
an hour out at least.
The researchers had great difficulty, but I felt firsthand the result of all their efforts. So it was a great experience. Twitter, social media, thank you very much for your support. I'm sorry I could not read your message today. I hope you could continue supporting us. Well, last time, Touchdown, we did the first broadcast. This was our second time. I tried to do my best to communicate in an easy-to-understand way. The next time, we are planning another broadcast. So I hope you could hear from us good information about Hayabusa 2. Thank you very much. So impactor, developer, I was the member, and I was able to see the moment of separation and the telemetry with all the members. There was changes in the telemetry. We saw that and we were really relieved, but we have not been able to confirm the detonation yet. So we are not 100% happy yet, but we did everything we could. So now we can only wait. Thank you. So there is this time lag, unique time lag, and we had to wait for some moments. But I hope you could share the atmosphere. And we're expecting a press conference, which will also be live broadcasted, and it will be viewed on YouTube too. So thank you very much for a long time.
Okay, I would like to say my dog is currently the grossest dog ever because he was outside in the rain and he then proceeded to air dry on the back patio while my husband smoked a pipe. I don't approve of smoking. I don't condone smoking. Husbands. But my air dry dog is fabulously gross. So tequila is multiple floors away. Let me see if I can embiggen myself without breaking the universe as I did earlier. Let's see. So we are trying new code currently. This is what is called Wirecast, and I'm determined to call it wireframe, which is not what it's actually called. Oh, I'm having all sorts of issues where it just doesn't want to transition correctly. So let me try this again. Okay, you have me on a black background. That may be the best I can do. I will try fixing one more time. I had to fix this earlier today as well. It is just one of those fun challenges you sometimes get. Okay, let's try that. No, it's just, okay. You got me on black. It's just the way it's going to be. So thank you all so much for hanging around. We should be getting images in the next few hours. I'm ever so very hopeful that we will see something tomorrow. This is my dream, at least. This is a great mission. They do beautiful work. So thank you. It has been one hell of a long day. We have been streaming since, well, it's now 10:30 p.m. And I got online this morning at 5:45 a.m. So that's 7 and 12. We've been online for like 17 hours, if I'm mathing correctly. I'm glad that you guys found it entertaining. So this is the kind of thing that we do to help communicate science to all of you, and we will be inviting you back to help us accomplish science. I am an astronomer who does coding that enables other scientists to do cool shit and that enables you to help do cool shit. And communicating our science is part of what we do too. And so it's a two-way process. We learn the science, we support the missions by cheering them, by helping them. And then when they say, hey, we need your help actually with the science, well, we do that as well. So thank you for being here. Michael, oh, wow. You have been awake the other side of the day from me. I'm so glad that you've been here for so much of it. Dream well. Dream well. So if you liked what you saw today, this is part of our day job. This is what we do. Annie and I, as employees of the Planetary Science Institute, we work in collaboration with Youngstown State University. We are nonprofit educators and scientists. And if you can support us, it would really help. If you can take what you would normally spend on coffee just one morning, assuming you go to Starbucks at least once a month, if you can throw that at our Patreon account at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Thank you. Thank you. That would really help me pay Annie. I have a husband. He keeps the roof over my head. I get really sad when I look at my cell phone bill because, life. But Annie is supporting her family. Donate, help me pay the bills. I really appreciate it. So anything you can do, subs, Patreon, donations. And if you can't, that's cool. There's so many things out there I wish I could support. And end of December, I went down the list and I unsupported so many things just because times are tight. But let's hang out together. Let's talk science together. Let's do science together. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me on the internet all day. Thank you for being happy about my dogs. Who is Annie? Our instro. Okay, now you're going to answer the question. That works. Thank you for hanging out all day. It has been a day of 2 Soyuz launches from 2 different continents, of Israel getting a spacecraft in orbit around the moon, of Japan bombing an asteroid. We have seen the successes of the Parker Solar Probe flying past the sun, of Starhopper doing its thing. Actually, I don't think we saw that. Scratch that. Of Space Launch Systems testing an engine. It has been thing after thing today. And It was a global effort. It was Russia with rockets. It was the European Space Agency with spacecraft. It was NASA with Parker. It was JAXA with Hayabusa. We're one people sharing one sky. And it's going to take all of us to understand this amazing, huge, vast universe that we all share. And the thing about science is we have the capacity, if we work hard enough and look hard enough, to eventually understand all of it. And as I sit here in a black box, I kind of feel like I'm falling into a black hole. We'll be back here tomorrow. I will be here to host the Daily Space at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That is 6 p.m. London time. And I hope some of you will be here to join me, because the science will go on. And I'm really hoping that we have images from Hayabusa 2 that we can share. Thank you. Yes, I'm at work with you, our instro. Okay. So I do need to call it a night. It's 10:40. I got up at 5 a.m. and my body is done. Oh, but there's bits, and bits means Cheerios for the dog. Come here, dog. Come here. Oh, you love this idea, don't you? Okay, come here, gross dog. All the way up. This is Eddie. He's so gross. So very gross. He's totally going to go to the groomers tomorrow. Yuck. You are a gross dog. Somebody's not sleeping on the bed tonight. That would be the dog. The dog is not sleeping on the bed tonight. So everyone, and he has dog beds. It's fine. It's fine. My code worked. It was awesome and amazing. And life is good. And, oh, wait, I just got another email in. Let me see if I have anything exciting I can share with you. Okay, so here's what I get to say. I helped a fellow PSI colleague write scripts to do data format conversion for Hayabusa 2. So I was actually helping that spacecraft that we just saw in real time while real-time shit was happening. And it was awesome. I love to get to play with spacecraft. So, yeah. I'm happy. So, some small bit of what I did helped. Some small bit of what I did helped. Okay. Yay, science. I'm gonna go to bed now. Dream well, those of you who are going to bed. Live well, those of you who are on the other side of their sleep cycle. And I have no clue if the credits are going to work in this slightly broken software. But wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it may be. I'm trying to get this to work. I think I got it. Okay. Let's see if it works. Have a fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you may be. And don't forget, if the weather allows, go outside and look up. Bye-bye.